Hi, I'm a DocuSign University trainer. Today I'll be showing you how to create Power Forms. Power Forms are self-service envelopes that you can create and distribute externally. You can publish the Power Forms URL on your company website, intranet, or send it out through an email. Power Forms are great in scenarios where you want the recipient to initiate the signing process on demand. For example, event registration forms, PTO requests, university course withdrawal forms, etc. Power Forms are created from envelope templates. There are a few requirements that your template needs to meet in order for it to become a Power Form. First, it must have at least one document. It must have at least one recipient. If you have more than one recipient, there must be a signing order enabled. The first recipient is the one who will be initiating the Power Form from the URL. Any other recipients will be invited to the envelope via the standard delivery method. The first recipient must have the needs to sign action. In order to create a Power Form, you must have Power Form administrator permissions defined within your permission profile. DocuSign admins will automatically have this permission, but others will need it assigned to them. To create a Power Form, navigate to the Templates page, locate the envelope template, and from the ellipses icon, select Create Power Form. Power Form name and email subject will automatically populate using the information from the template, but can be customized independently if needed. The instructions for the first recipient will show up for the Power Form initiator. DocuSign provides some default instructions, but you can customize them as needed. There are a few additional settings that can be customized for the Power Form by clicking on the Options tab on the right. First, we have email validation. With this, you can prompt the Power Form initiator to check their email before signing the document. They will receive a code and plug it in order to access the document. This helps to ensure your signers are using legitimate email addresses. We then have the message for all signers. With this, you can customize the message that all signers will see, not just the Power Form initiator. And then finally, usage settings. Here we can limit how often or how many times the Power Form can be filled out. You can limit usage by quantity. With this, you can set a maximum number of responses, and when the maximum number is reached, the Power Form will become disabled. You can always go in and reactivate the form or increase the maximum later. There's also the ability to set a usage limit by time between responses. With this, you can set up a time frame, and a recipient cannot fill out the form more than once within the time frame that you specify. We identify the recipient by a unique combination of name and email address. And with that, your Power Form is ready. I can select Create. Immediately, we'll be prompted to copy the unique URL that we can distribute externally to drive people to the form. So you could post this on your website, send it through an email, etc. There's also embed code if you want to embed this form on an external site. So let's observe the signing experience from the Power Form initiator's perspective. We'll pretend that we are the employee who has clicked on the URL. We can see those custom instructions that we plugged in. And as the employee, I need to fill in my name and email address. Based on how the template was configured, we also need to fill in the name and email of our manager. And when we click Begin Signing, an envelope is created. Now, we did enable email validation on this Power Form, so the employee is going to need to check their email for a code that will have been emailed to them automatically. Remember, this is optional. We did not need to include this feature. So over in my email, the employee will receive their code. They can go ahead and copy it and paste it in on the screen, validate. Now they will have entry into the envelope, and this is really just the standard DocuSign signing process. They can fill out their fields like their employee number, the type of training that they took, their training date, and sign. After the employee signs, both the employee and their manager will receive a copy of the completed form. Here we can see those completion emails coming through. I get a copy as the Power Form sender. The employee, Emma, gets a copy. And based on how we set up the template recipients, the manager, Molly, gets a copy of the completed form. To view the Power Form responses, you can navigate over to the Agreements page in DocuSign and then select Power Forms on the left side panel. Here you can see your Power Form and the number of responses. This one has 1 out of 200 since I set the maximum number of responses to be 200. I can click on the hyperlink to view the individual responses, or if I would like to view all of the responses together, maybe I have several, I can select this download button and download the Power Form response data to Spreadsheet. There are some additional actions that we can take on the Power Form by clicking on the ellipses icon. I can go back in and edit any of those Power Form settings that we configured, like the maximum number of responses or that text on the Power Form Initiator page. I can always copy the URL if I need to redistribute. You can deactivate your form if you maybe want to temporarily stop responses from coming in, and then you can always reactivate it later. You can change the sender of the form. By default, when you create a Power Form, you will be the sender, meaning that you will own all of the envelopes that are created through the form. But if you wanted to change it to be another user on your DocuSign account, you could do so. And then finally, delete. When you delete a Power Form, it is not going to delete any responses that you've already captured, but it will delete any new responses from potentially coming in, as well as delete the form itself. So you are now ready to begin using Power Forms to allow for easy and on-demand signing.